a business consultant and co-founder of Amadutown Advisory Solutions. Raised in Roxbury by a Liberian father, he brings a lived understanding of inequity to his own innovation, AI, and product strategy. A lifelong storyteller, Bumba blends cultural insight with systems thinking to help marginalized communities access economic opportunity. Equity code is called change. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce my old friend and my nephew, Bumba Silla. A round of applause.
Thanks, Oak. Yeah. Hey, everyone. As you heard, my name is Bumba. That was a really good introduction. That came straight from the back of my book, so I know it was all legit. So I'm sure there's a number of questions about AI. I heard AI rumblings a little bit. I do work in AI. I do a lot of nonprofit organizations, many of which are just now getting familiarized with AI, so they need folks to help them get acquainted with it. My day job, which is the director of product strategy piece, is the Fortune 500 is Fidelity. So Fidelity Investments is where I work. Some of that will get infused in here, but really, I hate to let you down because I just came in front of you and we're going to be together for a little while, but this topic's not going to be fully about AI. This topic is going to be about innovation, which is really how I am able to navigate these spaces that are not designed for us in the most effective and efficient, like how I arrived to where I am today. So that's the fundamentals. That happened way before AI. This idea of innovation stands at the foundation of that information. You guys follow me? All right, cool. All right, you're not too disappointed, right? Anybody familiar with innovation? Have you had any formal or informal experience with innovation? Any workshops? No? We have any app builders? No? Okay, all right, cool. This is gonna be good. I am going to start from the beginning, just walking you through the primary concept of innovation. So here's the agenda for today. So why am I here? I'm here, one, to share my story. My uncle did a pretty good job, so Joe. Share my story, talk about the Innovator Challenge. So the Innovator Challenge is, what is it like to innovate when you don't have any resources, right? And then I'll talk a little bit about the history of innovation. Now, I'll tell you that I have never been a strong proponent of history, mostly because I never was able to see myself in it. So what I'm going to do is, before we even talk about the history of innovation, I'm going to give you a story about history that's probably a little bit more reflective. Inventive Thinking. I also have a box full of items that I brought, but I'm sure you guys have come across some items as well. And no worries if you don't. I have a box. We pull space from the box, and we try to find innovative ways to create something new. Alright? So that's what the interactive innovation demo is, and then we'll wrap up with any questions. Alright, ready to get started? Cool. Now, again, I'm going to do this really quickly. I'm really glad I didn't wear the same shirt in these pictures today. That was definitely in the morning. But they have what it takes to be an investor. Go in. Nice. First up. Well. Alright, good. We got 2. 3. Perfect. 4. Awesome. 5. I don't know. 6. And you were first. Awesome. Great. So we have 6 folks who for sure think that they have what it takes to be an inventor. That's great. Welcome. Everyone else, hopefully I'll convince you that your constraints, whatever those constraints might be, the reasons why you didn't raise your hand, those are actually your superpowers. So you already are an inventor. It was a trick question. You already are a problem solver. You also have the ability to see things that others miss. Whatever your disadvantages are that you perceive might prevent you from being an inventor, they are your actual inventors. And now, this is the Mythbusters round. This is why I said this. Innovation isn't any magic beats that some people want with and others aren't. Or that you need a fancy lab, lots of equipment, lots of money. It's also not being the smartest person in the room. Innovation is solving problems with what you already know. It's also seeing what others miss because they don't live with problems. The biggest key to innovating on scale and repetitively is to actually have a method. And there's a method to innovation that everyone can use, and that's what I'm going to show you. Alright, so bottom line is you are an innovator. And we're going to demonstrate what that actually means in a second. So, if you have any problems that you came with that you might want to try your hand with innovating, please feel free to do so.
Glasses. I said toothbrush.
You think you should, right? And if you have something that you brought, I got it for you. That's great. Let's see what you do.
For 5 questions.
No, I'm supposed to be in the it's not you, big question. Yeah, we'll turn this into toothbrush, whatever innovation you come up with, obviously it can be the same. Second, whatever you create must provide additional value. Alright, so it does what it currently does in additional value. So you can't break it. So you can't break it and then have it do something else. It actually has to continue to do its existing thing in addition to that. Alright? Same thing with the hanging. The third, you must only use things from unified distribution. Okay? So, you don't have to create anything. You just have to create. And then, we'll go through. We'll raise your hand and say, we'll just talk about how you thought. Does that make sense? Okay. So we'll give it 60 seconds.
Now you see them. We are minion breaking. We'll put it here, and like if you want to put volume up to yep.
Awesome. Alright, yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Thank
you. Alright, table 3.
It's not recommended. We could do it this, but someone gives that, easy access. You can like hang your underwear in here and after brushing your teeth. Or if you take it with attachment and then like make this, imagine you can attach the brush and then use the shoe.
Alright, cool. Thank you. Alright, good report. And why would somebody do yeah, that's great. Thank you. Awesome. Wore down breading of those clothes, you needed to find a way to subtract the water from the process so that the clothes lasted soaking. That's the subtraction process that Thomas Jennings came up with. George Washington Carver. Anybody familiar with George Washington Carver? Yeah. Alright. You probably have this. Marketing after him or something, right? He's well known in innovation. He's the reason why we eat peanut butter. Right? He did a lot of things with peanuts And the only reason why he did that was because George Washington Carver was a slave. There were others that were slaves in the community. They were sharecroppers by trade. They planted lots of cotton. Cotton was heavy on the soil, and it wore down all the nutrients. What George Washington Carver highlighted was the fact that you need to turn the crops over time. You can't continue to plant the same thing in the same soil. And so he had to pitch to all of the sharecroppers that we need to also grow peanuts. And they're like, what are we going to do with peanuts? Nobody wants peanuts. Everybody wants cotton. There's no industry for it. So it's like, okay, I will create an industry for peanuts. So he found different ways to face the closed world. It's sometimes cold. The ideas that you come up with, you only use the things that are available to you in the closed world. What's the closed world? The closed world can mean different things, but for the purposes of the exercise we just did, the closed world meant this room, right? Couldn't pull anything from outside of this room to help you with the ideas that you generate. But this is one of the core rules when you're using this technique. You need to have a closed world. But if you're solving a problem like the mayor, so she needs to solve a problem in the closed world, and the closed world for her would be all the boss, right? So the closed world varies depending on the problem that you're trying to solve. If we were trying to solve a problem that was very specific to the water bottle, because that very restriction makes it very difficult to do that. It's a mental block that occurs, which is actually number 3, functional fixedness. You see this chair, you know what this chair is used for. You sit in this chair, you sleep in this chair, right? But if you want to think about things differently, you have to understand that it doesn't have to be used specific, right? So you shouldn't go into innovation with the concept of it being what it is. And the third is avoiding functional fixing. So again, the chair piece, right? It can be a tent, it can be a box, it can be a spaceship. If you have younger siblings or kids, you know that they are not applicable. The older you get, the more fixed you get in functional fixedness. And also, if you have a lot more resources, you can also become functional fixed. These features are all of the different things that I just cited. And the different things that I just cited have attributes. Right? So let's stick to cap. The attribute of the cap is it has a twist on the inside, so you twist it and push it, right? That's an attribute. One other thing is the wrapping that's around it. It is green, it's white, it's a specific material, paper, it's not plastic. These are all different attributes to describe a particular feature. Does that make sense? Okay. So, that is, would it still serve a purpose? Probably not, right? That would be a really bad use case. Unless, of course, it's just for fashion, right? Otherwise, unless it serves the purpose of protecting your eyes. So, that's considered essential. So you want to make sure you're selecting a crucial element from the list and identifying it. Then you subtract that component. So imagine that product without that essential component. And then you want to see if you can find another component from the cold flow to take its place that we need to have. So we take the lens out of that. And we need to actually find something else that can serve the same purpose. You can't replace it with the thing that you just removed, so it has to be something similar to what Then you evaluate the innovation. You ask, similar to what I asked before. The question is, you came up with this new idea, and it's good, and it's wacky. Wacky is then you have to then tie it to why a person might value it. Their current idea. Yeah, no, you probably Oh, okay. All right, you have a car? Awesome. So when you get into a car and it's raining, what do you typically do before you start driving? It's raining outside. You turn on your wipers, right? Yes. And when you turn on your wipers, it's raining slowly, and then all of a sudden it starts raining harder. You do anything different? You increase the speed, right? Okay. So there's a dependency there, right? So as the rain falls, the speed of your wiper changes. Imagine you had a car where you jumped in, you started driving, and all of a sudden it started raining, and then it started to rain harder and harder, and it adjusted according to the amount of rain. That's attribute dependency. That's the thought process. So, in the case of attribute dependency, we are still defining the load flow throughout a very small area of the world. So we also have to list all of the variables. What are variables, right? This is the new one. So the concept of the variables are, I don't want it to be like math class. The idea here is it's something that changes, right? So in the example of the car, the rain is the variable. Well, yeah, right, the input. So and then there's the other variable, which is the speed of the wiper. But you got two variables. One variable you can control, and the other variable you can't. You guys have the idea of which variable is which. In the case of the car, yeah. There's one variable you can control. The wipers, right? And the other variable you can't. The rain, yes. So then, with variables, you got these internal variables. The external variables, you have to take a list of them. You have to understand what are the external variables within my closed world, which is the car, that impact the internal variable. And once you have that, then you can randomly create pairs of variables. So the wipers can rain the one, but the gas in the car and the mileage that you drive, that's another one. There are various variables that you can have into the case of the car. And you want to be able to create pairs of variables. Then you want to reuse the recurrence. You want to visualize the dependency between pairs of variables, then evaluate the innovation. That's attribute dependency. Alright? Okay, we are close. This is the matrix. This is the matrix. So we talked about internal attributes and external attributes. This one I think was candle, if I'm not mistaken. So the attributes that I'm showing here are for candle. You can have the length of the candle, you can have the smell of the candle, you can have the color of the candle. Those are all internal attributes of the candle. But then there are external attributes that happen to the candle that impact the time, location, picture. This is the sort of activity we do when we're trying to use the attribute dependency framework, because for each one of these boxes, you have a new innovation. And if you are in a company like Johnson & Johnson who makes candles, then they want to understand how many products do we currently have that are in one of these boxes. Do we have a candle that changes its smell as it gets longer or shorter? Right? Have you guys ever seen candles that have different layers of smell on it, and as it burns, then you have a different smell? That's this one. Right? And you have another one that has this light and location. So the external attribute is location, and the internal attribute is light. You probably can't create anything that it happens automatically to, but imagine you are in church, right? And they have candles that are on the altar. And those candles burn all day long. You probably can't use one of those little tea, right? In the church, you can burn out too much. Lots of people are very upset because they're praying to their God, or they're saying blessings for someone who passed away, and you can't. So that's the thought process behind this attribute dependency matrix and how you can use it to create innovations. Alright? That's a tricky one. Okay, so I talked about all of this just to tell you that there's an after this. And that's the AI piece of my job. So I took all of the things that we just discussed and I amplified, created an app that will allow us to go through this particular type of exercise. It's called reversing. My watch, so take a picture of my watch. Then I have to scan. It's doing a closed world scan. So I'm trying to identify everything that's in the area of the watch. The green that's in my kitchen countertop. We'll probably be taking this back to my hand, my wrist. It's making some assumptions based on the area that I'm in, what sort of neighborhood resources there are, and start to see some setting table countertop. And now I can select the pattern, one of the pattern functions. Subtraction. Here. No, you don't have that. Okay, it's but there's a headphone that I just created here as a result of this technology that allows me to put it around the ears, but you can actually cuff it. So it's a combination of an earbud and an ear. So that if you ever have to wear a hat in the winter, you can still wear these and hear music at the highest point. Right? So that's what's happening. Alright, so now we're going to tell them we're going to innovate with everyday items again. So we're going to use something that you brought with you, or we're going to collect the product in the box. We have an additional constraint. So the other constraint is the same, but from the existing product, which provides the additional value. The new one is you have to use one of the techniques that we just discussed. Alright? Give it 2 minutes. You guys have any questions? We're gonna come back now. Alright, so how are you guys feeling about the idea? Feeling good? Feeling good about the use of the technique? Yeah? Maybe? Okay. Alright, cool. So, I know that you can scan it from where you are. I'd love to scan it, but feel free to do so. And then we'll show you the fashion. I'm sorry?
Like, you'll see things that
those 3 lessons are probably what you want to be able to download and process as you move forward in your quest to be inventive, right? And also think through inequity. Inequity is powerful, it's not an endorsement for inequity, but it also creates the environments and serves as a catalyst for innovation. When people feel things equally profoundly, feel a sense of things not being fair or equal, then they are motivated to change, right? Only the folks that are okay with that equal are the typical folks that are not ready. So, if you want to disrupt, and you're like, the adventures that we talked about, they don't just exist in safety. Alright, thank you everyone.
Coming up with the game, huddled up in chains, broken up with fame, going out